Hey everyone, welcome to It Tastes Different Game Reviews. In this episode, we're going to review Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes. Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes is a tactical action role-playing game, hack and slash, kind of like not Fire Emblem. It's kind of like Fire Emblem. It's kind of like Dynasty Warriors-ish. It is developed by Omega Force and published by Koei Tecmo and Nintendo. Well, Koei Tecmo in Japan, everywhere else it says Nintendo, but I'm pretty sure my copy says Koei Tecmo when I load it up. It came out on Nintendo Switch and was released on June 24th of 2022. So it is single player. It does have some multiplayer options, but it's primarily a single player game. And it follows the Warriors franchise by Koei Tecmo. If you're familiar with that, there was the Legend of Zelda Warrior one that they came out with before, and I believe Fire Emblem Warriors has already had a Fire Emblem Warriors version of this that came out before 3 Hopes, before on the Switch. If I remember correctly, there's one already out for it. So we're going to go around and talk about this game and see what Pat thought about this and what we think about this game. Pat, what did you think of Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes?
Well, at first I was like, Dynasty Warriors. I'm not over the umpteen Dynasty Warriors that have already come out. And I didn't play the Hyrule Warriors one. I did not get to play that one. I did want to, but then I was just like, well, it is what it is. But now we got this one. I'm like, man, no more Dynasty Warriors. And then all of a sudden, it's better. And what I mean by that is there is much more to this game than just the Dynasty Warriors thing. It's got a lot. That's all I can say. Is every time I come back from a mission, there's like, now you could do this. Now you could do this. Let's upgrade the camp. Let's talk to these people. Let's train your people. Let's go sell this. Let's buy this. Let's find these pages. Let's cook them some dinner. Let's go on some expedition. Let's talk to everybody in the camp. It's just really, really immersive. Like there is a lot going on in this game, and I don't know how else to put it, but I'm going cross-eyed looking at all of it, and I'm going broke trying to go, I need more resources. I need more gold. I need more camp points, because you can only train so many times. So you run out of camp points, and you can only do so many little side things with them until you run out of camp points. So wow, there's a lot in this game for a Switch game, in my opinion. And I'm just scratching the surface. I've just gotten into, a certain spot with one of the houses, and I'm like, what's going on? And it's a little confusing. I mean, there's a lot of back and forth. If you don't know a lot of the lore, like me, I get confused at times. I'm like, is that the one chick that you were in the school class thing with? And I'm like, and so it does get a little bit confusing for somebody who doesn't pay attention to the lore as quite as well I did. There's a lot of RP in this game as well. That's a little bit rough to get through. Sometimes I'm just like, let me in, let me fight. And I got to go through 20 minutes of story before they're like, all right, let's move on to the next part. But it's a fun game for me. Right off the bat, I definitely am glad I picked this one up. I put some time into it and want to put some more time into it. But Nick, what about you, man? What did you think initially of this one?
Yeah, I've played the Hyrule Warriors one, which I thought was pretty good. I didn't play a super ton of it, but I've played it, quite a few hours of it. And that I thought was really fun, because I'm not a big fan of Dynasty Warriors. I've played Dynasty Warriors in the past, but I'm not a huge fan of it. And so when I first went into the Warriors franchises that they've been making, I was expecting the same thing too, but it's not that, right? It is kind of that in a sense, but like you said, there is a lot more to it. And there's a lot of, it's kind of overwhelming, the amount of information that it gives you and the amount of things you can do. I found that the more time you have with it, the more you find, you kind of know what you want to get accomplished, and you kind of understand where everything's at. The nice thing about this game is and when you go to the map menu and everything else, even though there is a lot of information, a lot of stuff that is trying to give it to, there are a lot of ways to get to that information or get to those things pretty easily with the controller. They've made it, they've given you an option to, if you want to get around your camp, you don't have to walk around. You can bring up a little menu that allows you to go to anybody in your camp, that allows you to go to any of your instructors in the camp, like your training instructor or resource managers and stuff like that. So you can get around the camp just by teleporting basically all around the camp. So you don't even have to really walk around it. You might want to, because there are some lore pieces. If you want to pick the lore pieces up, seems like every chapter, it seems like there's like at least 2 pieces of lore that are kind of scattered around the camp somewhere. They're usually not that difficult to find, but if you want to pick them up and read them and stuff, you can. Yes, there is a lot of information this game gives you and a lot of story. You will sit through cutscenes for quite a while and kind of just conversation type scenes where they're talking about strategy and different kind of a lot of politics, a lot of medieval politics, right? With kingdoms and stuff, fighting and alliances and negotiations and various things like that. Just that kind of era time of war in the Middle Ages, or that period of time, I should say. But this game has a ton. Like you can, you have your training instructors where you can change your classes, and changing your classes is encouraged, right? And they want you to do that because when you go into your maps and your battlefields, certain enemies on the battlefield will be more or less, weak or stronger to you, depending on the class that you have or the classes that you've chosen. So you can train your character and other characters, and there are a ton of characters, and you can get more characters as you progress, that level up independently and that you can train independently into different classes, as well as and different versions of classes, like advanced versions of those classes that branch off into other classes and stuff like that. Like a mage may turn into a priest, or they may turn into like a black mage, or something like along those lines in a sense. So depending on, and you can learn them all if you want to. So there are a ton of options for how you want to tackle things. The game starts out and you have the 3 houses. It's based off the 3 houses, Fire Emblem 3 houses. You have the 3 houses and you basically join one. Right, you're a mercenary and you basically join a house, and then the story kind of goes from there. I joined I think they're called the Black Eagles. I can't remember, but they are maybe they're the Black Eagles. I can't remember. But anyway, so I joined that house, and then I know Pat joined a different house, and so it seems like the overarching story is the same, but of course, what you do and how things kind of progress depends on the house you chose, right? You're going to have different battles and different scenarios happen, and all centralized around the same thing, around the same overarching story. But of course, as me, in one area, I might be attacking a bridge, whereas in another area, Patrick was defending the bridge, right? So that's kind of a neat thing that gives you some replayability if you really want to go back through it and play the different houses. There seems to be a ton of content playing through one house, so man, the replayability is there, but man, it would be hard to kind of go back through all that again in a different house. It's a lot of content, but that's just scratching the surface of everything this game has to offer. There's so much stuff that you can do in this game. But overall, I think personally, it's a really fun game. I really like it. I really enjoy it.
Yep. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Like you said, yeah, you chose the Black Eagles, I think. Yeah, they're Black Eagles. That's right. And then there's like the Blue Lions and then the Golden Deer. I picked the Golden Deer. Just because I didn't want to play the same thing Nick did, ask him, hey, which house did you pick? So I didn't make sure I picked this different one just to see what it was like. And I'll be darned, it's a different storyline. I mean, this overall arcing storyline is the same, but my house storyline is completely different, you find out, like I said, you put to play the house and what's going on in their realm and stuff like that. So my story is a little bit different than his, and I'm doing things differently, but there's parts where it co-mingles. We were chatting about it before we got on here about certain things that we did, and I'm like, so it was you, and and things like that. So it's really interesting. The combat's fun. It does get a little repetitive. I'm not big on switching characters. The game does push you to kind of switch characters, but I'm more for just opening up the battle map and directing my other members of the team to go do this or go do that while I'm pushing something else. And the unfortunate incident of that is that my main is like way up there in levels and everybody else is like still in single digits. I'm way up in the double digits and they're still knocking at the very top of the single digits. Some of them have hit double digits and I'm like, maybe I should play them a little bit more because my character always gets MVP and and all this stuff. And but it's kind of cool. Like there's certain ends of the chapter to where the story combat mission gets really fun. Like you can do tactics and call out different things and do different things if you have the tactic points. In one of the missions, you can persuade one of the people to join you from their bad guy's side. The side you're fighting, you can persuade them to join your side. It's got every like combat mission is just so full of side missions and main missions. Like every time you're running around, my head's spinning sometimes because I'm running through there going after the main mission, and then it's like side mission, catch the thief before he runs away, or side mission, this person has entered the battlefield, kill them before they take over your areas or escape or something. And I'm like, oh my God, it's like OCD's kicking in. I got to go over here, but the side objective just popped up over there and it's timed. And I'm like, which one do I go for? So then I'm trying to run up my map and tell my people to go after the main guy while I go run down the side mission or something, or vice versa. So there's a lot of versatility in how you play the game. You can very well just swap classes or swap characters, like you said, and just jump around that way. But I find that I like playing the same character. It's a little bit easier for me to memorize their rotational patterns because there are combo points and different abilities and things like that every character has, and a lot of jumping around. I'm like, what was this guy's 3-part combo? And what was that one's 4-part combo? And they only got a 2-part combo. And I'm like, no, I don't have time. I don't have brain power to memorize all this right now. So I have a tendency to stick with the main protagonist in mind anyway. And there's a lot to learn. This game has a lot to learn. And there's a lot to do in it. Like, and it kind of holds your hand through some of it, but some of it I was left going, what is this? Like, every now and then I would walk into town. It would be like, you have a conversation to start. And I'm like, where? It doesn't tell you, and you have to just remember who you actually leveled up their companion thing with. And then you go talk to them and they've got like a companion story thing they'll talk to you about. I'm like, there's so much. It is a lot. Sometimes it's overbearing. I mean, to me anyway, there's just too much. Sometimes it's a lot. You can give companions gifts to help raise up their compatibility with you and things like that. And it changes up the combo points. Like you can, when you're running around, you could team up with one of them. There's a button combo and you team up with one of them and it changes your ultimate ability, if you will. There's an A ability once you build up the attack gauge so far, and you guys do this cool little team combo AoE ability and whatever. And I'm like, well, that's kind of cool. So I was running around for a long time, just grabbing random different ones that I'd run into and be like, hey, come join me. Let's go fight some guys, build up my thing. And I'd be like, oh, this one's kind of cool. But you find out some synergies and ones that work better with like your style, like, so there's a lot. And this game is a time sink if you want to learn it all. And the bad part is that there's just never enough material. There's never enough there's enough training points. There's not enough camp points to do everything you want. You're just like, in the beginning, it's like I got 3 of each. Okay, I could train 3 times and then go out and do 3 different companion level up abilities. Which ones do I do? Do we do chores? Do we do expeditions? Do I cook for them? And then in the combat one, you're like, okay, which 6 people do I want to try to level up? Because you basically get the group A, group B, and group C. You put them together and you get a little bit of synergy going on and you can level them up, pick different classes and level those classes up for them. There is an immense amount of stuff to do in this game, and it is mind-boggling how much they've stuffed into this game.
Yeah, they've stuffed a lot. And I had the same problem too with my main character leveling up too quickly. You can go to your trainer and you can level up the other people through spending gold, but that gets very expensive if you want to get them kind of close to your level. So it is wise to switch, which I don't like doing either. I like sticking with the main protagonist and just doing that and commanding the other ones to go do various things. You can replay levels, and I guess that would be one way to level up people, but I don't know if I would want to do that. I kind of like just keeping the story progressing. But and we did mention, so one thing is that, Pat was mentioning in the camp, there's you can train people and stuff like that, and you can, with the materials that he was talking about, you can increase the facility's ability to do certain things. Like you can have more training slots, so you can train more people at the trainer. You got an item shop, and if you invest materials into that, they'll sell other items or higher quality items, and so on and so forth. You can equip your characters with different weapons, and the weapons themselves have stats and different types of abilities and stuff like poison and various things of that nature. You can buy battalions and assign battalions to your characters, and along with the other characters, you can equipped secondary items like rings that give certain effects, or shields or stuff like that. You also find items that permanently increase stats. So you want to kind of, do I want to put them all on my main person, or I don't really use, maybe you're not a magician, you don't use magic, so maybe you want to throw that magic one on one of your mages or something like that, or someone that you're going to dedicate that they are going to be a mage, right? Because you can change classes, so they can be anything, but maybe you want them to be your mage, so that's what you're going to kind of center them around. This game has a lot, and we did mention that this game does have multiplayer, and the multiplayer is basically a co-op, local co-op option, where basically when you're going into a mission, into a battle, this player 2 can basically come in and be one of the characters, and I'm assuming since it's local, it'll be a split screen where they play as one of the other characters during the battle. So if you've got someone watching you play, and they're kind of interested in watching you play, that they can join in during those battle times and fight with you. So that could be a lot of fun. Unfortunately, I don't think it was online co-op. I believe it's just local. So unfortunately, you can't play with your buddies online during those scenarios. That would be kind of fun to get in there, hop in there, and just play through some scenarios and stuff. But yeah, there's a ton. Like I said, the strategies and various things like that. When you get up to the main map, during a mission, there's several little bitty missions that you kind of have to go through, and of course there's victory and defeat conditions depending on the mission. Maybe it's taking all the strongholds, maybe it's killing a certain amount of people, maybe there's a time limit, whatever the case may be. And then once you get in there, there's the main missions along with side missions, like Pat was saying, that pop up and spring up from everywhere. And then of course there's also side quests you can do. There's certain little pieces on the map. So once you take a map area over, you're able to unlock resources and stuff for your camp, which you upgrade your camp, of course, by upgrading all that stuff, the facilities and various things. But sometimes there's a timed side mission that after, it might be further away, then you have to kind of go in order when you're taking out these different portions of the map. And it may, after 3 times of attacking different maps, you have to make it there before the timer basically turns out, so you can do that side quest. And the side quest just gives you extra resources, or maybe a cool weapon or something like that. And they're usually not that difficult. Side quests usually aren't. But and then there's also a lady that sells stuff, and she moves around the map. And then if you catch her, she'll sell really rare items in your camp during that chapter. So that's really cool as well. So there's a lot of things. This game is chock full of stuff to do and to see and to experience. If you like that kind of action combat and some strategy, there's definitely strategy there, because when you go out to the maps and you have to dictate your characters, you need to make sure you're sending them to the right places and they're attacking the right people, and you don't want to put them in harm's way, or you're going to have to get them out of a tough situation. So you kind of, and also making sure that you have people with the right classes. You don't want to accidentally make everybody a mage, and then you're like, oh crap, I need bowmen, or I need someone with axes or something. So there's strategy behind everything to make sure your characters are have proper weapons too, because you can change their weapons and various things. So you want to make sure that the weapons they have are good quality weapons, and you can upgrade them at the armor. There's just tons of stuff. I mean, this game is just chock full of things to do. So I would definitely recommend it. I believe it is a $60 game, which it is on the Switch. So don't think about don't hope for a discount anytime soon on that. So if you're interested, or if you played the Warriors franchise before, you'll know what you're getting into. And so, if you played it before and liked it, then you just expect more of what you liked. And if you haven't and were kind of interested in it, this is a good, any one of the Warriors ones I would say is a good jumping off point. But I mean, this is definitely a good one to pick. I didn't feel like, to me, that I need to know. I have 3 Houses, which is the tactical strategy one, but I didn't play a ton of it. I need to get back to it and play it. I don't feel with this that you really need to know information from those. It seems to be its own contained story. Maybe you might get some backstory from 3 Houses as far as knowing kind of more of the lore. But I think just playing 3 Hopes right off the bat, I didn't feel like I was confused as to who these people were, because the game does a really good job of letting you know who they are and what's the, what house they belong to, and kind of what that house does and what they command over and various things like that, and where they exist on the map as far as their allegiance and stuff like that goes. So, I think it's overall a great game. Pat, anything else or anything to close it out with?
No, just it's massive. There's lots to do. I've had to refer back to the wiki page a few times to just look at things and be like, oh yeah, I got to remember to do that, because there's just too much for me to have to remember. And like I said, I get confused a little bit on the lore with the 3 Houses and stuff like that. So, it goes back and forth. They try to kind of color code it, whether it's the black eagles, which is red, and then obviously the blue lions, and then the golden deer. Those are kind of easy, and you're just trying to figure out who's who and what's what, and figure out, like I said, basically the 3 Houses are at war, kind of, and you're kind of playing one side or the other, which, as Nick said, the replayability is pretty high, because you get to see the story from the different perspective of each house if you redo the story, because I did it from the golden deer ones, and he's doing it from the black eagle. So it's completely overarching stories the same, but we're seeing it from the other side of each other's perspective. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, you're exactly right. They do color code everything, even what the people are wearing, right? They all kind of, all the black eagles kind of wear some reddish kind of tinted colors, right? And whereas the golden deer all have kind of yellowish colors, so that kind of helps with knowing, oh, okay, there's the yellow colored person. Well, or they're wearing yellow clothing. Okay, so that's one of them. Or they're wearing blue. The other house is blue, so it does try to help you remember, because there's a lot of characters that it goes through. So it's like you'll meet new characters all the time, and you'll be like, who is he and what does he do? And so they also have other houses which have other colors. You have that, I can't remember the name of the house, but they're purple, right? So there's a ton of different ones, but you kind of start to learn each house. But yes, it is a little confusing. But like I said, I don't think you need to play the previous ones to really get an idea of what's going on with it. But even with the previous Fire Emblem games, there is a lot of characters and a lot of lore, so it's really easy to get lost in all that lore and all that information. So unless you're one of those really big lore masters, it's kind of easy to get lost. But there's a lot of things in the game and probably on the wiki that really help you kind of stay on track as far as the lore goes and who's what and what's who. So, all right, well, I think we're going to go ahead and end it there. But thank you all for watching. I hope you liked the video. Make sure to like it if you did like it. Also, make sure to subscribe. If you watched it this far, why not subscribe to the channel? Hit the bell notifications to stay up to date with new videos that we do all the time. And also, let us know in the comments down below. What do you think of the Warriors franchise? Do you like the Warriors franchise? Have you played one? And if so, do you like it? And where would you like to see Koei Tecmo go with the Warriors franchise? They could definitely seems like they could definitely turn anything into a Warriors type game. So, what other franchises would you like to see them kind of go after? I can't think of anything off the bat, but if you give me some time, I bet you I could find some other ones that might have a cool ability to go into that Warriors type of gameplay. So, but thanks for watching again, and we'll see you next time.